And Bonds hits one high. It's a deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
Now Booker with Tucker on him. Throws it up for 8. Shot blocked by Antetokounmpo. What a block from Giannis.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Irving. Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes, yes, yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. Stacks on stacks, lads. Joined, as always, with my guys. We got Aaron Kidd, Mr. AK, and Mr. Big Ball and Ben Larson. How we doing tonight, fellas?
It's weird doing this on a Thursday.
It is a Thursday. Yes, you're right. Forgot about that. My days are
Thursday, actually, with the boys. I'm very happy to be here, guys, and ready to talk some Super Bowl. It's hard to believe football season is coming and gone. If you ask my wife, though, my wife thinks it's been a very long football season this year. So
Sure.
She's
feels reminded me of that a lot in the last couple of days.
It feels like that, I guess, but I mean, then at the same time, it's like it really came and went. You know, it was here and then it was gone, and that's that. And we're down to 2. We got the Niners versus the Chiefs. It's basically 1.5, 2 everywhere. I did see a 2.5 pop up at FanDuel today. I don't know if that got bet back down, but
it's still a 2 at FanDuel.
It went down to 2. All right, so it's basically 2, 1.5 everywhere. You're seeing a lot of tweets from people that work for sports books, you know, giving out the handles and whatnot. And obviously, you know, historically, Vegas has only lost in 2 Super Bowls, so usually you want to be on the book side in that case. But I was listening to VSiN the other day, and they had Mike Palm on, the VP of Circa, and he was saying that they have so much Niners liability on the futures market that they're begging for people to play the Chiefs on the side. That way they can mitigate some of their liability. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we're going to break this down, talk about it, etc. But before we hopped into that, I did want, because AK is a big Commies fan, did want to get your thoughts, AK, on the coaching search, how we all thought it was Ben Johnson, and then, you know, Ben Johnson turns it down. Apparently he wanted like $10 million a year, and the Commies end up hiring Dan Quinn today. You know, what's your thoughts? You got new ownership, and like, what's your thoughts of the overall, like, Commanders franchise at this point, you know, having Dan Quinn and stuff?
Yeah, so, you know, reports have come out. Mike Garafolo said that through the interview process, it wasn't just Washington, but the couple other teams that Ben Johnson interviewed with. Apparently, the guy didn't interview well. You know, they said that I think Mike Garafolo's exact words were, he's a brilliant mind, he's a smart guy, he's a great offensive coordinator, but he's
Oh, do we lose
but as a head coach,
There we go. Repeat that.
but no, it was just reports. I don't know what you heard, Ben, but Mike Garafolo basically said all the teams that Ben Johnson interviewed with. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jordan. He interviewed with 3 teams.
I know he interviewed with Seattle, the Commanders. He may have interviewed with
Panthers, I believe, too.
Okay.
So, anyways, the teams he interviewed with, they were very impressed with his mind. They say he's a brilliant mind. He's a great offensive coordinator, a great football mind, but say he's not the nicest guy in the world. You know, from the things I've heard, he's you know, I won't say it on the show, but let's just say it's a guy you don't want to go have a beer with. And so ultimately, it was more of teams passing on him on top of the money that he wanted, as Jordan alluded to, than him. You know, it was kind of like one of those things where, oh, well, you're not going to fire me, I'll just quit. Right. So that kind of sums it up with Ben Johnson. I was all set with there, and I like the hire. Dan Quinn is the type of guy that he's wanted this job. I mean, he's come out and said that he wanted to coach the Commanders. So that's the first step, is wanting to be there, right? And the second step is you got to come in and fix his defense. Dan Quinn was a guy with the Seahawks before he went to coach the Falcons that we remember how good those Seahawks teams were, defenses were, right? The Legion of Boom, all those guys.
Yep.
Then he goes and takes Atlanta to a Super Bowl, right? I mean, he was, they probably gave up on him a little at the end because they kind of hit some salary cap issues and things like that. Matt Ryan was at the end of his career. But no, I don't hate it, man. It's one of those things. It's kind of like, meh, I'm not excited about it, but I'm happy that we got somebody that wants to be there. And hey, we got the number 2 overall pick. We got the most salary cap in the league. So I'm excited to see what we can do.
Yeah, I also like going back a few years, like it feels like every time a team hates their head coach hire, like that's the hire that actually ends up actually doing well. Like everyone hated the Sirianni hire, and like they're in a Super Bowl 2 years later. Everybody hated the Gannon hire in Arizona, and like that's looking promising, right? It's like every single year we get a team that like nobody likes to hire, but then it ends up being an actual good hire. The Zach Taylor hire of Cincinnati, everyone was like, who the fuck's Zach Taylor? He was a quarterback coach, got hired as a head coach, and then boom. Even Sean McVay, when Sean McVay first got hired by the Rams, he was a tight end coach. Everyone was like, why is this fool getting a fucking head coaching job? Boom. Now look at him. So to AK's point, everyone's saying like, oh, Dan Quinn, it's not like a spicy hire or whatever, but you're right, dude. Like he has a proven track record. They obviously need a good defense. They need to improve their defense. Dan Quinn, he's shown you in not only Seattle, but also in Dallas, what he did with Dallas's defense as well. So I don't think it's a terrible hire. I hate the retread head coaches over and over again. Like the guys that like just continue to get head coaching jobs. It's like, let's mix things up a little bit. Let's get someone that has no experience,
But like,
sorry, Ben, go ahead.
What regression did we see in him this year, though? Because that defense in Dallas was atrocious the whole second half of the year, if not the whole year. And how much of that is
I don't think a lot of it was
have that much faith in their coach.
I don't think it was so much the defensive coordinator, more so than A, they had a lot of injuries, Ben, on their defense.
Yeah.
And B, we talked about this multiple times, dude. Like when it comes to big games, bro, if you got a player like of Micah Parsons' caliber and like he just doesn't show up, you can't coach that. There's nothing you can do. You can't coach around that.
You can coach that. You can definitely coach that. You can get him even more motivated. You can get him incentives. You can, focus in on that and get him to play that game. And
I think the one thing, these dudes are professionals, Ben. Like if you need a coach to motivate you, you're probably in this for the wrong reasons, right? Now, if it was a schematic issue where like Dan Quinn is like not moving Micah Parsons around or he's not schematically doing things, that's an issue. But I don't think that was the issue with Dallas's defense. I think it was more so that, that they just ultimately weren't as good as they were a year ago. Like last year they were good, right? And they had their moments.
Top 10 defense in the last 3 years since he was the coordinator.
Yeah. I just think in big games, man, I don't know what it was. I honestly, I don't know what it was, and we'll never know.
I will throw one back to you guys. West Coast little segue here is rumor has it Dan Quinn wants Chip Kelly to be his offensive coordinator. And rumor has it Washington's already in the works of getting that to make happen. What do you think if Washington gets Chip Kelly and goes out and drafts Jaden Daniels with the second overall pick? If you remember, Chip Kelly's the one who bought the RPO into the NFL with Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
The RPO in the NFL, which is very prominent in the NFL to this day, is because of Chip Kelly. Can you imagine Chip Kelly and Jaden Daniels? A coworker asked me today, he's like, man, I'm hearing a lot of rumors about how like Adam Peters likes Jaden Daniels, yada, yada, yada. And at the time, I really was like, I don't really have an opinion. But the more I've thought about it, why can't Jaden Daniels come in there and mix it up and do some RPO stuff and get something exciting going? You still got Terry McLaurin, you got Dotson, you got Brian Robertson, Antonio Gibson still there another year. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I am getting excited. I don't know.
I mean, I think it would be great offensive coordinator hire, and there's been rumors for fucking 6-8 months that Chip Kelly wants out of UCLA, so makes sense.
My only question there is I mean, I guess because there has been changes of, I think I just answered my own question, because there's been changes in ownership and management in Washington. They aren't really stuck on Howell.
No, because they didn't draft him.
They didn't draft him.
Yeah. So they're, I mean, who knows? Like, you can draft a quarterback, right? And then, or even before the draft, when spring practices, maybe they like Sam Howell and they're like, this is our guy, and then they can trade that second pick and move back and get more draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're like AK said, dude, they're in a pretty good situation. They're in a pretty good spot where they have a lot of money. They got draft capital, and I just think the runner of everything.
You got to remember, we got a first round pick, 2 2s and 2 3s. We have 5 picks in the first 75 picks of the draft.
Yeah, they could do a lot, and the new ownership is they want to win, or at least that's what they've said. So, you bring in the right people, you let them do their jobs, and sky's the limit, man. So, I mean,
and we'll get off of this, but imagine Washington coming in there and trading, the number 2 pick. Let's just say, just off the top of my head, I don't have it in front of me. Don't the Cardinals have another pick, like kind of early in the draft?
They have the 4th pick in I think it's the 23rd, which is
okay.
Houston.
And then the Bears also have have another pick in the top 10 on top of the first. Imagine if they trade down, man, to like 10, right? The Bears still get the drafted 1, right? Get whoever they want. The Bears want to come back up, similar to what we saw Houston do. Remember, everybody was surprised when Houston came up and had 2 and 3 last year.
Yep.
Washington trades down to like 10. Bears give up a buku of that 10, probably a first next year, and probably an assortment of seconds and thirds, the next couple of years. I know we already have their second. Dude, you can be right in the thick of things right there, right? You got the most salary cap. You got a buku of draft picks already. Say you acquire a couple more. I mean, we've seen teams do it. I mean, listen, the Lions were shit on every sports radio show last year for those 3 picks they made, their first 3 picks, right?
And they ended up being good.
They hit on all 3 of them, right?
Is there someone at that level that can, make that difference with Chicago in the holes that they need, that offensive lineman that I mean, probably a cornerback or safety?
Man, I'll tell you what. I think we're talking about too many, and I mean we as sports fans are worried so much about the quarterback position in this year's draft, as we always are, right? That we're probably overshadowing 2 of the most talented guys at their position that have come out in a while, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brock Bowers.
Yep.
And I don't have to tell you guys what happens when you have a good tight end in the NFL these days.
Yep. And not only that, there's also, this is a really deep offensive line draft too. You got Joe Wall.
Yeah, there's a ton of second round talent in this draft that would probably be first round talent, right? In other drafts, because it's so deep. And that's where I want Washington to attack in the second round with their 2s. We got to get some offensive line help, man. It doesn't matter if fucking Ben's back there at the trigger position. You can't block for him, man. That's some big boys coming after you.
I'll take lean minimum. Done.
Seriously.
Get my fucking shit smashed in. League minimum, done.
If I was Washington, though, I'm getting Chip Kelly and I'm getting Jaden Daniels at 2, and I'm letting him just wreak havoc.
Yeah, and one thing Chip Kelly's really good at is establishing a run game for sure. So,
yep,
give him a rushing quarterback, and he's got some talented running backs there as well. Christian Rodriguez also had his
that's another one.
So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how everything plays out.
But if you were gun to my head and you were to tell me that we can't draft a quarterback at 2 and we can't trade out, I'm drafting Brock Bowers. To answer your question, Ben, sorry about the tangent.
No, it's all good.
Brock Bowers
is that
generational talent.
Yep.
Okay, so I was gonna say, like, if Chicago trades that pick, you have Cole Kmet. Do they basically give up on Cole, which was their second round pick?
Yeah,
I like Cole Kmet too, but I am so high on Brock Bowers that, correct me if I'm wrong, but a Titan has never been drafted first overall, right? And if I'm thinking right, it's only been 3 receivers ever drafted first overall: Urban Fryer, Keyshawn Johnson,
Yeah, no, there's never been a
Joey
tight
Galloway,
end.
maybe.
There's never been a tight end.
Never
first
been a tight
overall.
end. Brock Bowers, I think, is going to be so talented and is so talented and so much. I think he's a generational talent position. I would pick him at 1, honestly. That's how high I am on him.
And he's gonna fall to the Chargers. Chargers are gonna swoop him up.
Yep. Imagine Justin Herbert throwing him the ball.
And what's his face? All of Harbaugh's offenses love to use tight ends too, so that would be.
Yep.
It's gonna be interesting.
Justin Herbert's stock is going to rise. Sorry about this, but somebody else asked me today. They were like, "Man, what do you think about the Chargers and the Harbaugh hire?" Said, guys, I could pay everything that I've ever tried to buy in my life in cash if I had all the money that I lost on fucking Brandon Staley decisions. It wasn't that the Chargers lost the game. It was the Brandon Staley lost the game. So, yes, I think that team has got to figure out some salary cap things and maybe move on from some older guys that have been there a while. They've got some things to figure out. But, yes, they are instantly better with Harbaugh.
Instantly.
Do they have a good DC?
I mean, they will. Harbaugh. One thing Harbaugh is really good at is getting good coaches around him.
They haven't hired anyone though.
Nah, I don't know, to be honest. I know he brought like some people from Michigan with him, but I don't know. I haven't looked at who his coaches are yet. But I know, like, from just historically, like, that dude always has a good coaching staff, no matter where he's at. All right, let's talk some Super Bowl. So, obviously, we got the Niners and Chargers. This game is being played in Las Vegas, Nevada. The Raiders Stadium. Shout out to the Raiders. They get to watch their old
2 rivals, yeah.
One of their division rivals and their old crosstown rival face off in their stadium for a Super Bowl. Must be awesome. Right now, we currently have the Niners basically 2 everywhere. I'm seeing pretty much. The total is still at 47.5. It has not moved at all. What's your guys' early thoughts on this game? AK, I know you've made a play on the game already.
Yeah, Ben. I want you to have your thunder on this one, man, because this is your team, right?
Yeah.
Super Bowl. So I'll say my couple quick thoughts, man. I'll let Ben take it away because this is his team, man. But listen, I've been wrong fading Mahomes in the playoffs this year. I'm the first one to admit it. But I'm kind of pot committed at this point. But when I sat down and looked at this game, man, you're talking about a 49ers team that they finished this with the 2nd ranked offense in the league, number 3 in rushing, 4th ranked passing offense in the league, number 3 in scoring, averaging almost 29 points a game. And if you add the playoff games to that, they have averaged even more than 29 points per game. The whole thing about Brock Purdy can't play from behind. He can only play with the lead. But we can ball that up and throw that in the other, in the trash can with all the other things people have said about the 49ers.
Don't tell Jordan that.
You can throw all that away. Brock Purdy's overcome that. We've seen what he did against Green Bay. We've seen what he does against Detroit. And the best part of all, Ben, your boys haven't even put together a full game yet.
Yep.
And that they haven't even put. I honestly, guys, like I make this game like 4.5 or 5. The fact that I was able to get down like -125, -130 on the 49ers was a fucking gift from God. And I see the 49ers running. I see this game 31-17. Honestly, I made it 4.5, 5. So
no fucking way.
I don't think it's 31-17, but
I think the 49ers are light years better than this Kansas City Chiefs team. And I would argue.
Okay, have you watched this defense the last 5 weeks?
The Baltimore Ravens ran the ball 5 times after the 8-minute and 32-second mark. That was a coaching malpractice. That was the Ravens losing the game. We know the Buffalo Bills lost the game. Chiefs certainly didn't win that one.
How did they not win? They punted the ball 1 time.
And I would even argue that they may have not even really won the Dolphins game. So what did they really do, right? settle for a whole lot of field goals.
Yeah, but I
So,
mean, you could turn around and say the same thing about the Niners. Like, they're very, very lucky to be here, dude. Like,
no, they're not. They never gave up. They fought through through resilience. They fought through adversity. Were resilient
So
and overcame anything that was thrown their way. They won those games. They went out and won them. They didn't hang on. That's for sure. And I tell you what, if the 49ers get the ball within the 30-yard line 4 times in the third and fourth quarter like the Ravens did and only scored 3 points, the 49ers will run them off the fucking field, Jordan.
yeah, but I mean, the Niners couldn't score in the red zone against the Packers, and the Chiefs have a way better defense than the Packers.
Yeah, but the Niners were and to Aaron's point live, the Niners haven't played a full game. That's something that they're going to have to do because we haven't seen that. And that is something that worries me. In the Green Bay game, Jordan, to your point, they didn't put a good quality team up until halfway through the fourth quarter. And that's what really kind of pushed them over the edge and got them that winning game there. Last week, it wasn't until the second half. So that is at least trending in the right
but
way.
Also,
but they have to put a full 60 there.
If we're keeping it a buck and we're going to talk about teams like being very lucky, I mean, dude, Detroit doesn't have 3 drops, and I mean, like, we're talking ludicrous drops, like, in the receiver's fucking hands, like, no defender near him. I mean, come on, dude, like, what are we doing here? Like, if you're going to sit here and tell me the Chiefs are lucky to be here and that they didn't win against Buffalo, even though they only punted the ball 1 time, and you're going to tell me that
only punted the ball twice,
and you're going to so who was the better team? The team that won. And if the Chiefs don't
It's not
fumble,
always true.
if the Chiefs don't fumble out of the end zone, that's a fucking 3-score game.
If the Ravens do not fumble Zay Flowers' rookie move going into the end zone, the Ravens win that ball game. They had the ball 4 times on the 30-yard line and scored 3
Gotta
points.
put it in, but you could say the same thing about the Chiefs the week before, dude. Guy fumbles out of the end zone, McCall Hardman, and it flipped the whole game. It gave Buffalo a chance to actually tie the game. I mean, the Chiefs dominated that second half.
I will say this. Put all the opinions to the side, and I'll tell you what bookmakers are doing. If you guys remember last year, who opened as the favorite in the Super Bowl last year?
The Eagles.
Do you remember who was the favorite when the game kicked off?
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind that we had that Patrick Mahomes injury, and like nobody knew how he was really going to be.
Everybody knew he was okay. Everybody, we knew it.
The second he walked off the plane and everyone saw him like not walking gingerly, that was when the fucking line flipped around. But to your point, like the Chiefs closed like a 2.5 point dog last year, and they were 3.5 at one point.
Yeah, it was 3.5, but when I played it, it was 1.5, and then they ran off as a 1.5 point favorite on most books.
I don't remember.
But anyways, my point of that is the fact that the odds makers took all this money, which we knew it. When they opened the line at 3, the public, the masses were going to run and take Patrick Mahomes plus 3 points because it was a key number.
Yeah, but the public's not. The average Joe bettor's not betting yet. He's betting next week.
We saw a ton of Chiefs money come in, right? But they never, ever, ever flipped the favorite. And it's because the 49ers are the better team, man. Power rating, this team is so much better, man. And I think we're blinded by Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all these things that are almost a narrative at this point, right?
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from Patrick, man. He's a generational talent. He could retire tomorrow and be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He could retire tomorrow and I'll come on the show and argue with somebody that he's a top 5 quarterback to ever do it. He hangs up tomorrow, right? Not taking anything away from him. This 49ers team wants revenge. Almost all the stars that are on this team was on that team a few years ago that blew it in the fourth quarter. That was Kyle Shanahan. They are getting revenge and they're taking it to the Chiefs.
And I think offensively, other than the 2 people that you just said, and Jordan, I know we've talked about this previous, the Niners are better at every single position except for 2. One is a wide margin, and that's Mahomes over Purdy, and the other is a smaller margin. And I think this year more so than previous years, it's changed a little bit in Kelce over Kittle. I think they're great quality tight ends. Kelce has his games, but he's still the better tight end. But other than that, every single position, I have Niners offensively.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs' offensive line is better outside the left tackle. But yeah, I mean, like obviously the Niners are a better team.
Is that the offensive line, or is that just Mahomes being more mobile?
No, the Chiefs have a
and
good
have better
offensive
view?
line. Chiefs have a good offensive line. But I think the difference though in the teams that previously played, I mean, we're talking 4 years ago. These teams played in the Super Bowl. Is the Chiefs actually have a good defense now? They didn't have a good defense then. And Spagnuolo also is one of the best defensive coordinators in game planning in game planning as well. So I think that benefits them there. I also think it's beneficial for the Chiefs in the sense that Andy Reid is the best coach off a bye in the history of the NFL.
We talk about how this defense has stepped up, and yes, in the playoffs they've played well. Definitely have played well against.
Played well
Buffalo.
all year outside of like two
No,
or
the
three
Chiefs.
games.
I'll give you the Chiefs defense played well all year.
But the second half of the year,
Bro, they played a better. They're better than the Niners defense.
Yeah,
16 points a game
allowed.
allowed.
Chiefs played good all year.
a better first half. That's the Jags, the Bears, the Jets, the Vikings, the Broncos,
Lions.
and the Chargers.
The Lions.
Week 1, I don't count that.
Bro,
Nobody comes out the way that they're actually playing.
they're a better defense than the Niners. I mean, you want to look at who the Niners played? What good teams did the Niners play that they played a good defense, that they played good against?
The Rams.
Yeah, but when they played the Rams the first time, the Rams were trash. No one even thought the Rams were that good. They didn't even have fucking Cooper Kupp.
The Cowboys, the Browns.
Cowboys was probably their best game. That was like the second week of the year, third week of the year.
The Seahawks, the Eagles, the Seahawks again.
The Seahawks aren't good.
Oh, come on. You've been fucking slobbing on Geno's knob all year.
Yeah, right.
Oh, come on.
Seahawks are good all of a sudden, dude.
Give me a break.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
Give me a break. Come on. I wish Herb was here. He'd fucking back that.
No, he
He's
wouldn't.
been here on every pod.
Bro, I never said I said the Seahawks are a decent team when you guys were saying that they were going to get dog walked by the Cowboys. I was like, come on, dude. Like, they're not that bad of a team, bro. Like, they're a decent team. They're not a great team by any stretch of the imagination. And I've said all year that Drew Lock is better than Geno Smith. So what are we doing? But in talk of the Chiefs defense, Ben, is really good. They're actually better than the Niners defense. 16.8 points per game for the Chiefs, 18.4 for the Niners. Points per play, Niners
They've
give up.
had an easier schedule.
Points per play, Niners give up 0.299. Chiefs give up 0.27. Yards per game, Chiefs give up 294. Niners give up 312. Opponents' yards per play, Niners give up 5.1. Kansas City gives up 4.8. So, I mean, every metric, the Chiefs are actually a better defense.
Let me tell you
let's
some
look
other
at
things
strength
too,
of schedule
Jordan.
there, though.
After the Chiefs went up 17-7, they averaged 2.8 yards per play against the Ravens. They allowed the Ravens to
Yeah,
go
but
inside.
the Ravens
the red
defense,
zone.
aka the
Inside-
best
not the red
defense
zone.
in the league, hands down.
I understand, and the people are ready to throw in the towel on this 49ers defense. We saw the 49ers defense lock in the second half.
It took three huge drops for them to get the ball back. The Lions were averaging 9 yards per carry in the second half.
Who are gonna make 3 big drops? The fucking Chiefs wide receivers.
Well, and that's a good point too. Do you guys remember how the Chiefs beat the 49ers when the 49ers were up against 4 years ago? Let me tell you 2 words: Tyreek Hill. Right?
Yeah, Tyreek Hill's not there.
But Patrick Mahomes does not have the playmaker to go to. So when we're sitting there and the 49ers grab this lead, how are they going to get themselves back in the game?
He has Rashee Rice and Kelsey.
Rashee Rice is.
I like Rashee Rice. I was very high on Rashee Rice and Tank Dell in the draft last year. Have no complaints about Rashee Rice, but he can't sleep in the same house as Tyreek Hill.
No one can.
I think Scanlon can probably be at least close enough with that speed, but the hands aren't there.
Yeah, no, he's got to. I said it on Sunday. Like at the end of the day, the Chiefs receivers are going to have to make plays because that's going to be the biggest difference. Because the Niners secondary sucks. Honestly, their whole defense isn't that good. Chase Young is like gone non-existent. Outside of Bosa, like no one really gets pressure, and Bosa hasn't even really got that much pressure until like 2. He got like 1.5 sacks last week. It's just it's an overrated defense because their numbers are skewed from like that Dallas game, and they played really well in that Dallas game, dude. They really did. That was like one of the most dominant efforts I've seen in a team all around, hands down. But we have not seen this team put it all together, and everyone's like, well, if they put it all together, they're definitely a better team. Sure, but they haven't. And why are you so confident that they are going to put it all together when they haven't? That's what I don't understand. Like, if we're going to handicap a game on, well, they have to do this. They have to put it all together. They have to have their best
we're
game.
handing the same thing for Kansas City in that their wide receivers have to catch the ball.
Yeah, but if I took Kansas City from that Baltimore game and Niners from that Lions game, I would much rather have that Chiefs team because that also defense is better.
At least my angle of handicapping is you expect some plus regression and negative regression. Water always finds a level, right?
Sure.
And at some point, the 49ers team is going to come back to earth. We saw the buy sign. We saw that second half. They could have packed it all in and been in Cabo today, listening to our podcast about them. But no, they fought through a little adversity, showed resiliency.
To be fair, to be fair, real quick, AK, if they were in Cabo, we wouldn't be talking.
We wouldn't be
talking
about them. Yeah.
No, we'd definitely be talking about them because we'd be talking about how they fucking lost to the Lions. And if anybody ever listens to this podcast, I haven't believed in the Lions all year, right? So, I took Green Bay to win the NFC North on this show, on our preseason show. That's how much I didn't believe in the Lions. So, but anyways, my point of that is the bookmakers are very good at what they do. Very good, right? I would take the bookmakers over the three of us probably any day. They're not going to keep pricing Patrick Mahomes to where people will keep betting him and keep letting him take money. And they're baiting us to take Patrick Mahomes again. San Francisco's 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games against winning teams. Teams with winning records. 0-5 against the spread. Why would you ever take the 49ers? Right? They're 0-3 against the spread in the playoffs. Why would you ever take the 49ers? Right? Kansas City has covered every game in the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes as an underdog or a road neutral dog or to pick is 10-0-1. Why would you ever do it?
I wouldn't fade Mahomes. The 49ers are
a better team.
I would not fade. You guys can fade Mahomes at your own peril. Not I. Can't do it. Won't do it. I'm not gonna. I can't. Like I said, I don't even know if I'll get involved on the side here because I do think that both these teams are pretty even. And I do think if the Niners play their best game, that they're the better team. But we haven't seen it, and there's no guarantee. And like all I've seen in the past 5 weeks, and I'm going back to the regular season too, is they've been pretty mid, dude. Going back to that Baltimore game on Christmas, they have not been that good.
But they find ways to win games.
Well, I mean,
so did the Chiefs.
Okay, they had the Commanders, which they won 27-10. They had the Rams, which they weren't playing half of their team. Then they had the two playoff games where they won both. So
yeah, but they shouldn't have won either of those playoff games.
But they did.
They did. And now they're here and they're gonna stomp Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy.
I don't know about 31-17, like AK said, but they'll definitely cover the two.
No, I just said I made the line 4.5 or 5, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if this game is 31-17. Number's 47.5. So
can't believe Western Kentucky just lost to Sam Houston State. What a sorry ass.
I saw that. Sam Houston just keeps finding ways to win. They're like 6-1 in the conference now, Jordan. It makes no sense at all.
Dude, Western Kentucky was up 10 points. They gave up a run to end the first half, and I knew they were fucking cooked. Holy shit, the Grand Canyon Seattle game's only a 1-point game, AK. What the fuck? What happened there? That's insane. Whew.
Seattle just has their number this year, Jordan.
That's crazy. I know they're like the one team that can like kind of take out Grand Canyon a little bit because to be fair, the strength of the Seattle's team is their wing players like Cam Tyson, and like he's probably the one dude that can physically match up with Grant Tylen Foster in that league. Probably the only dude. Because all those other teams in that league be playing like fucking Drake Allen at fucking wing, dude. That dude's like 6'2" at best. Oh, I love the whack.
Boise. What about Max Rice with his third legacy game in a row against New Mexico?
Oh my god, dude. That was a hell of a game from that kid, man.
The dude averages 11 points per game, but the last 3 times he's played New Mexico, 2 at the pit, he's gone for 35 or more each time.
Hey, some dudes just love playing teams, dude. Certain teams.
Yep.
You know,
100%. I said that yesterday. I'm so glad you said that because I said that yesterday on Spaces. Some of these guys, man, these tenured guys, because we're not really seeing a lot of tenured guys at schools anymore, right? You know, we live in the era of the transfer portal and things of that sort. But it's guys like Max Rice that have been there, 5 years?
Yep.
He's played there before, man. He's been there. He knows it. You know, I'm not going to say it's like playing in his backyard, but it kind of is, right?
Yeah,
and
he's played there enough.
With the familiarity and comfortability, dude just goes in there and does his thing.
100%. I was shocked Western Kentucky lost that game, though. That was a good spot for them. Talking about spots. Oh, man. So, you're on the Niners. Obviously, Ben's on the Niners. Ben would take the Niners even if he didn't even believe in them. He would create some false narrative to believe in them. It's gonna be a good game, man.
No, honestly, man, I've been a believer in this 49ers team since before the season. I said it on this show.
Man, why does he got to freeze right there?
It's not me freezing. I don't know what he was saying.
He was just saying that he's been a believer in the Niners since before the season. But remember,
Man,
I had that
hard freeze there.
I had that Niners future last year, and those motherfuckers let me down.
And that's why I think you have such hatred against the Niners. Is that every time you do bet on them, they let you down. So you're reluctant to bet on them.
I wouldn't say they like. That's why. I just don't think that. Like when you watch them from that Baltimore game on, like I just don't think that they're as good as we all thought they were. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it'll be interesting, and I think Kansas City can definitely come out with a good game plan. I think they have the quality coaches to do that. There he is.
There he is.
But
Sorry,
you know, I think the Niners have just as quality coaches. I think we are going to have a well-coached and well-prepared team on each side. And I think that's going to make this a really good game. And I think that part of that would put it as an under game.
Oh, yeah, I like the under. I think this is going to be a low score. I think it's going to be lower scoring than we all think. And the reason why is because we're all like, oh, the Niners defense has been so shitty. But at the same time, like the Chiefs offense has been fucking, you know, not that good. And when they get a lead too, like the Chiefs, they just sit on it now, which is very Andy Reid like, dude.
Step on their throats. You think?
I'm so glad he said that because that just led a segue right into my handicap from earlier. So the 49ers get up on this team. The Chiefs cannot come back. They don't have the Tyreek Hill to have those explosive 80-yard touchdowns that it took to come back in that Super Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you can never count on Mahomes, dude.
I think that's a narrative, though. I just think we're buying into a narrative that Tom Brady lost a couple in the Super Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he lost to like, you know, dude. It's just
Eli. Eli.
No, I'm not. He didn't lose to Eli. He lost to those defenses. Those defenses dominated those games. Because the one thing with those defenses, and that this is a similarity in the Chiefs' defense to the Niners, is that Tom Brady really struggled when you get pressure up the A gap, up the middle, and that's what the Giants did really well. And Brock Purdy's the same way. Brock Purdy struggles when you get pressure up the A gap, and that's where the Chiefs thrive with Chris Jones, is they get pressure up the A gap. So I think that's very similar. And in terms of Mahomes, like you can't blitz Mahomes. Like Mahomes is the best quarterback in the history of the league when he's blitzed. He has the highest completion percentage when he's blitzed. So you can't blitz him because if you open up a defender, he's going to find it. You can't play zone, and the Niners are a zone defense because he's going to find holes in your zone. And that's the one thing about Mahomes. It's just this year that offense is just different. They don't, to AK's point, they don't have Tyreek Hill, but they didn't have Tyreek Hill last year and they won a Super Bowl. But this year it's like they're just inconsistent getting production from the wide receiver. They've been better because they've been utilizing Rashee Rice more the second half of the year, which has helped them a lot. But if you watch that Buffalo game, like, why were they so good offensively against Buffalo? It's because Marquez Valdez-Scantling started making plays, and it opened up everything, right? So if Valdez-Scantling can make plays, it's going to be different. It's going to be hard for the Niners because the Niners secondary hasn't been that good, dude.
It's a big if, though.
It is a big if, dude. And, like, the Chiefs, their wide receivers have to make plays, period. End of story. You know what I mean? But you could say the same thing for the Niners. Like, on the Niners defense, like, they have to make plays. They have to get stops, and they haven't shown that. So it's like, it's two things that with two teams in, I think these teams just balance each other out well. They both run the ball really well, so they're both probably going to be trying to rush to keep the other offense off the field by running the ball. Also, the Niners, obviously, they have Christian McCaffrey, and the Chiefs' biggest struggle is defending running backs out of the backfield in the passing game, which is a huge concern there. But you're also giving Spags 2 weeks to prepare for this game. And he's shown time and time again when he has, the guy has 4 Super Bowls for a reason. You know, he's the architect that stopped Brady. So when you give Spags time to prepare for a game, you get a good game plan. That's why I like the Chiefs. I think they have the coaching advantage, hands down. Andy Reid is a much better coach than Kyle Shanahan. They got the better quarterback, and they got the better defense.
I'll tell you what, Jordan. I
think it's closer than you think.
I think it's closer. I think it's close, but I think they have the better defense. They have the better coach. They have the better quarterback. And
I love Andy Reid. And I think he'll go down as one of the best coaches to ever do it too. We've kind of been able to witness his greatness. You know, I've always been an advocate for. Everybody wants to talk about Belichick of our era. Well, Andy Reid's right there with him, right?
Yep.
You know, so I love Andy Reid. I just think when you put the X's and the O's together, this 49ers team is more explosive on offense with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. We didn't even see what he could do last week, right? He's going to get involved. I think they find a way to win this game, and I just think we're getting a ton of value in Kansas City. On San Francisco basically being a pick, at least where I got it at. I played -125, -130 money line. I texted one of my bookmaker friends and I was like, hey, if you would have made this line on a neutral field around week 8, what would you have made it? He goes, 49ers -5.5.
I don't know about 5.5, but yeah, they would have been bigger favorite.
Yep. He said, I said, what would you made it if 49ers were at home in week 8? He said 49ers -7.
Interesting.
That's all I needed to know.
But it's not week 8.
We use recency bias. That's where I say you can't have the handicap of this team's going to put it together. We saw the buy sign, right? We needed to see the buy sign. We saw the buy sign when they were down 24-7 and erased that in 6 plays. They could have packed it up and they didn't. That's when I texted a couple of buddies of mine. I said, "This is the sign. This is the sign. The 49ers come back and win this game. They're winning the Super Bowl."
Well, I hope so for your guys' sake. Can't fade Mahomes.
I'm going one more time and I'm pot committed. So I'm either going down with the battleship or I doing a flex on this show next week. So, or 2 weeks from now, one of the two.
All right.
Ben might have to take his shirt off and twist around his head like a helicopter.
Done.
Some PD Pablo, huh?
That's right.
All right. So next week we'll be back. We're gonna do props. Next week, we'll dive into some index props as well, and then we'll get some final thoughts on our thoughts on the game.
Have you guys bet any props yet?
No, I choose if I bet props, I tend to look at unders. So like I'm not gonna play them till like way later. You know what I mean? I'm not an over prop better. Last year though, I hit Sky Moore anytime touchdown plus 6,000, which was massive.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
It's on my TikTok. I posted it before the game.
I think I remember that now. Now that you said that, I was on the Chiefs plus 1.5 huge in that game, but I also had both the songs first and last of Rihanna hit that. I also hit last year that there would be a 2-point conversion. I trying to remember the others. I think I had Patrick Mahomes over rushing yards and another one that I lost on. I can't remember the one I lost on. But I did very well last year. I won't say it on the show, but you guys know what I bet earlier in the week as far as songs, and I was glad to see both of those songs first and last. They're now like minus 250, minus 350, depending on where you're shopping at. So hope I was ahead of the curve on those.
Did someone leak the script?
Let's just say if we hit both of these this year, it'll be 3 years in a row we got the first and last song right. So
Here we go.
keep trusting the source.
Damn.
What do you think, guys? Should we be talking about doing a giveaway for people who like and subscribe to all of our shit?
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta figure it out. But yeah, we could do a giveaway.
Yep.
We'll throw out an early prop for you guys also that I like that I haven't bet yet, but I'm probably going to. I like that there will be a missed field goal because everyone's going to rush. Everyone's going to run to bet it that it won't be a missed field goal because they're going to be playing indoors, of course. I like the missed field goal.
Niners have Moody. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Bucker hasn't missed a field goal all year, so of course he's probably going to miss one in the biggest game.
Yep. I think when I was looking at it earlier, I just didn't bet it yet because I didn't love the number, but I thought it was a good number. I think it was if you bet that there will be a missed extra point or field goal, I think it was like plus 110. So hopefully the other side takes some money and I can get like plus 125 because it just feels like inside someone's gonna miss a field goal.
Damn, that'd be crazy. That'd be clutch.
It's gonna doink.
Yeah,
that was like the biggest bet last year. Was like, will there be a doink? I remember that shit. Everyone was talking about that.
And people always like to go hammer the coin toss.
Yeah.
I'm not a big coin toss guy.
Nah, it's 250-50.
Yeah, I mean you're literally flipping a coin.
Yeah,
right?
you are. There's no guarantee.
Not a big bet. And like you said, I don't play a lot of overs. One of my biggest props I ever hit though was actually ironically a Super Bowl Patrick Mahomes was in. I can't remember the year. I guess it was 2021 maybe when the Chiefs played the Bucks. Yep. I bet Rob Gronkowski over two or more touchdowns. It was like plus 1,600, something crazy then.
Nice, dude. That was an ugly Super Bowl. That one wasn't fun. Mahomes did not do well.
Damn.
Yeah, a lot of the guys I'm seeing are betting like Deebo Samuel over 2 touchdowns, Brandon Ayuk over 2 touchdowns. Pacheco over 2 touchdowns. I try to stay away from those unless they're like crazy odds because I'm not a big prop guy as it is, but I will get involved in some props and some Super Bowl squares for the Super Bowl. Like to blow it out a little bit.
Nice. Hell yeah. Circa does this thing where you can like they do squares and you can like choose your square that you want. And you can bet anywhere from like $1 to $100, I think, on the square. And then it pays
What
out.
is it like different implied odds or whatever?
Yeah, so like you can choose like 0-0. You know what I mean? And it's pretty interesting. I did it last year and I didn't fucking hit any, so that was fun.
The old trick for like your office Super Bowl square pools is they always say to pick a square, right? And then go like diagonal, either left or right, like you're playing bingo.
Oh, really?
It's an old
I didn't know there was I didn't know there was a strategy for that. All right.
Yep. They say to pick one square and then go like diagonal, either left to the right of that square you pick. One, you don't end up on the same row or column, so you open up a wide variety of other numbers, which basically just helps your odds. But you can ask my wife. My wife always makes fun of me, but I always seem to hit one of these Super Bowl squares, and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you won that money on the Super Bowl squares." What I don't tell her is I usually get involved in like 10 of them, so pretty good odds to hit there.
As long as you still make money, that's the big one.
That's hilarious. All right, it's time to get out of here. AK, it's getting late out there on the East Coast. Probably got to work in the morning. So thank you everybody
Of
for
course we did.
joining us. Make sure to download the Sharps app, SHARPZ. Use promo code Jord517. It's free to download, free to use. Track your bets, become a better. Sharps app. Follow AK on Twitter at AK Sports 90. Follow myself at Jordan Rules TSP. Follow the podcast at taproom_sports. That being said, we'll see y'all on Sunday. We'll be talking more Super Bowl and getting ready for the Super Bowl and some other shit. So thank you everybody for joining us. See y'all later. Peace.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Jordan.
Yes, sir.